I've had a lot of great books come across my desk this month, and let's just have a look at some of these. I haven't packaged them or listed them yet for sale on eBay, but there are some beautiful ones here. This one is a copy of an old, I was going to say encyclopedia, but it's not quite that. It's called Enquire Within Upon Everything. And look, it's got a poor binding. You can actually see the newspaper in the binding here, but it is still glued or adheres to the cover there. Beautiful old adverts. Peter Moller's cod liver oil, all that could be wished, according to Dr. Louis Sayer at Chemists Everywhere. Editor's preface. Let's look at when this book was produced. Okay, this one is from 1891. It's published by Houlston and Sons in Paternoster Square in London. And it says whatever you want, basically you can look for in here. Editor's preface, more adverts. Look at this, an advert for Bovril. And as we know, I've just said that that is from 1891. Enquire Within, so 130 odd years old. Beautiful little book. Lots of detail. Everyone numbered, so compound, ammonia related, turpentine, gargles, guidance on gargling and things to gargle with, alum, myrrh for slight inflammation of the throat, lotions, pills, mixtures. What else have we got? General stimulants, diuretics, diaphoretics, expectorants. Goodness me, how to make bread with German yeast. Bread, cheap and excellent. So recipes, guidance, things to put together. Sweet breads, plain, kidneys, ham and bacon slices. A proper little guidebook for running a house. Even here looking on seizure of goods removed, brokers' charges, stamped agreements, early rising, the weather and the blood. Goodness me. So lots of interesting stuff. That will probably go for just a few pounds, maybe £8 or £9, including postage, and that'll get sent out. First I have to list it, and these things take a while. Here's another one. I saw this yesterday. The Life and Death of the Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. My father was an enormous fan of Thomas Hardy, so I grew up with Thomas Hardy books and Visits to Sussex. This one by MacMillan and Co., published in 1947 in London, but with a beautiful map of Wessex. From Portsmouth up into, basically, it was Hampshire in my day, but in his fictional novels, he takes the old historic name of Wessex for the western part of England, as it was under the old kings. And for his novels, for his amazing stories, he creates the county of Wessex, the region of Wessex that he allows to be the place in which he locates all his stories. Beautiful book, really nice condition. Again, that'll probably go for maybe £10, £12. The Mayor of Casterbridge from 1947. Have we got anything interesting in the back? Shakespeare books. Essay questions, interesting. Quotes and references from within the story here, some notes. Nice little book, more than 80 years old, and I think that will go very quickly. This one, East Anglia. Came across this one probably a few months ago, certainly before Christmas, and I've put it in a box for listing, by R. Rainbird Clarke. What a fabulous name. Ancient Peoples and Places. General Editor, Glyn Daniel, East Anglia. So it's got the old cover on it. It says it was 30 shillings. It's got a bit of paper backing to strengthen it. Ancient Peoples and Places of East Anglia. So let's have a look. This is published by Thames and Hudson. Printed in 1960. So it's only 65 years old. It's older than me. But it looks like a fabulous little book. It's a technical book. I love the maps in it and the illustrations that are in there. My family originally came from the border between Norfolk and Suffolk in the Breckland, very much an area of family history for me. So it was nice to read this and to look at it as soon as I came across it. But that's a nice book. That will go quite well. Here's the author, Mr. Rainbird Clarke. Was born in Norwich and is now the curator and keeper of the archaeological department in that city's museums. Nice book. It's nice to have the cover on. Perhaps it's been a library book. I'm not sure. It has been protected, but it hasn't got any library stamps in it. And it's a nice hardback book. This one, particularly fascinating for me, Coin Collecting by Milne, Sutherland and Thompson. Originally 17 shillings. Oxford University Press. Have we got a date? Yes, 1967, one of its reprints, originally 1950 and then reprinted in 1967. And this is from Nottinghamshire County Library. Have a guess where I picked this one up at the weekend in basically a jumble sale in Hockley in Nottingham. But a nice book, Greek coins, a nice index, European coins, details of the kings and rulers of Normandy, the Plantagenets, the House of Lancaster, and lots of detail and information for coin collectors, particularly when they're looking at the dates on the coins that they've found or they've unearthed. Fascinating little book, Coin Collecting by Milne, Sutherland and Thompson. This one, Lady Chatterley's Lover. When I was a kid, everybody would get titillated by the little sex scenes or the scenes of passionate loving within this book, not understanding what they were because we were little kids, but we knew that the grown-ups were secretly reading this around the village. This is a Penguin book, 1484 is the number, by D.H. Lawrence. And this, I think, was printed the year that the court case was resolved. Yes, so it first came out as a Penguin book in 1960, because it had been banned in England for many years because of censorship and the moral codes that society was driven by. But it was published to great acclaim in 1960. This is a reprint from that same year. So it's not a first edition, it's not of high value. This will go for £5 or £6 at most, including postage, but it's a good reading copy. There he is, David Herbert Lawrence, born at Eastwood, Nottingham in 1885. A classic book. I love D.H. Lawrence books as much as anything for some of the fact that he spent quite a few months in Mexico, wrote one of his books there, Mornings in Mexico. I actually took a copy of that to Mexico with me in 1984 and really enjoyed it. Here is another interesting one. This is very old. Beginnings of European Biography, The Middle Ages, published by John Harris. And look at the address there. It's a very bad copy, a very bad cover. The corner of St. Paul's Churchyard. Fancy giving that as an address. So, the Beginnings of European Biography. It's got somebody's signature in the front, J. Sidley Moore. Not quite sure. That says, I think it says Highfield House. No, it says Fifield House. It's a very delicate book, this one. I'm gonna have to think very carefully about this. The binding of the front cover, you can actually see through there. It is stitched and held on, but the actual spine has well and truly gone. But it's still held in by the threads of the binding. So a very ancient book. Let's have a look at this for date. I remember seeing it earlier when I looked at it at the weekend. And it surprised me with the date. £25, Beginnings of European Biography of the Middle Ages, from the revival of learning under Charlemagne to the invention of printing, written I suppose, by the Reverend Isaac Taylor, illustrated with 24 engravings. And goodness me, the engravings are beautiful. Look at these. I'm sure this has a date in it. think I saw it with the preface. I seem to think it was written in or printed in 1832. Printed by S and R Bentley of Dorset Street in London. But a fascinating book, and following the biographies of people like Charlemagne, who were mentioned in the inner sleeve. Rollo later became Duke of Normandy. Again, very mottled brown pages, but beautiful engravings. Some people would buy a book like this and simply cut out these pages and frame them and sell them for high value. Certainly that's probably its greatest worth to somebody who wants it commercially. But I think it will go for £45 or £50 if I price that and describe it correctly in my listings on eBay. And I will try and find the date. I'm not going to find it now. Errata, so the mistakes that were made in the printing and some of the details. But quite a remarkable book. In poor condition with its spine, but this is a book that's 190 years old. So that's just a little run through of some of the books that have come my way recently and in recent months. And they will get added to and listed online over probably the next 2 weeks with lots of other things that need listing and finding the details of. But I hope you've enjoyed that. It's just a little tour through some of the stuff that's come across my desk prior to listing.